down to the last episode of removing the pieces off the donor car, and that is the rear end. So we just got the tank off, and now we got to focus on getting this thing out. And it starts with pulling the emergency brake cables out of the bracket that's connected underneath the car. Remember in a couple episodes back, we pulled the emergency handle out. That's where we got to disconnect those cables, pull these through. And again, we don't need the traction control. Then we'll remove the quad shock from the car, and then the main strut from the car, lower the rear end, which will release the springs, and then we'll be able to unbolt the control arms right here and pull it out. Sounds simple enough, but this thing weighs about 225, 230 pounds. So it's pretty heavy, but at least it's low to the ground. We've got a jack. We should be able to handle this no problem. And I have a little cart that I'm gonna put it on to be able to roll it around. This one is leaking, and I'm planning right now to rebuild this entire rear end. I've kind of got everything planned to do that, and they sell kits for just about everything to rebuild it. And I think that's a cool challenge, and that may be the first thing we do before we tackle the engine, is clean up this rear end and rebuild it. And that will be the next episode, I guess, after we get rid of this carcass. So here we go on this one. All right, here we are in my favorite place, under the car. So we got to get these off this bracket. So the book tells you take a 13 millimeter wrench with the 15 points. And we slide it up in here and see if that'll compress it. And work it out at the same time. And that works that well. And now we can pull through. The jack stand choice is a little compromised, but I think I can get this. Yeah. Get that bracket off. Ah, that's on there. Again, tough place to put a jack stand, but it's all right. The brake cables. Alright, quad shock. Alright, strut top inside the trunk is a 19 millimeter. Okay, rear shock absorber. You're gonna have to hold that position screw up top while you loosen the nut on the bottom. Repeat other sides. That one certainly didn't want to come off, so it took a little ingenuity. Take a pipe wrench, wedge it in there. Much easier. Okay, both struts, shock absorbers, excuse me, and the other ones are disconnected, so we should be able to lower it. We should see it lower, and we're away from the springs. Should be able to just take it on down. Let's see. We got the rear brake line. Bolt cutters makes quick work of it. Just take the bracket off. Oh. Yep, that's a no go. Slipped out of my hand. I'll do the other side. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this outer lower control arm for the rear end, and then we'll do those uppers up there. And it's a 19 millimeter on the inside, and the nut out here is 21. Probably can't hear me. 1921. Okay, those lower outside ones were a beast. So now let's get these uppers, and then the rear end will be loose. So we gotta be a little careful pulling these bolts out. All right, there it is, all out on the ground. Really wasn't too hard getting out, but we got it out of there. That is the very last piece to come off. Got a table full of donor parts. Got an engine that's got to be cleaned up and freshened up. Gas tank really just needs to be cleaned up. But this thing, we'll have to rebuild. So I think that's going to be our first major task once we get the carcass out of here, which I'm going to text a guy to do that for me here in a little bit. Peace out. All right, that wraps up taking the donor apart. We got a lot of cleanup to do, some preparation to do on some stuff. The kit's still a month out, so I've got a good solid month to get this stuff ready. I want to tackle this rear end first, I believe, and get this thing out of here. But today was kind of a whirlwind, maybe a couple episodes from the spindles, fuel tank, and rear end. But we got everything off the car. It looks nasty, it looks like a lot of work. You just got to take a couple pieces at a time, get it cleaned up, and knowing that you got brand new parts coming with a factory 5. So no more of this for the most part until we get all this cleaned up, but at least no more crawling around this thing like I've been doing all day. We got her done, and that's time to start prepping for the Cobra. Y'all made that? Whatever y'all make, you better be cleaning up. I know, I'll tell you that right now. It's off.
No, it's not recording.
Here, not recording, it's almost dead.